Well, former President Donald Trump now faces his fourth indictment this year, and the latest charges are from here in Georgia. Trump and 18 other defendants are named in a 41-count indictment stemming from claims of trying to overturn the 2020 election. We asked former Macon District Attorney David Cooke his thoughts on Trump's most recent indictment out of Fulton County.
For those who don't know, can you kind of explain what is an indictment and once an indictment is released, what's the next step?
The indictment is the formal charging document. The DA can't just sign something and file charges on people if it's a very serious crime. A grand jury of citizens has to approve that, and that's what happened here. So the next step is that once the defendants have all been taken into custody, then there will be an arraignment at some point.
Some of the big charges in this indictment include felony racketeering and the RICO charges. Can you explain what that means?
Racketeering is a charge that was developed to combat organized crime. Basically, people who conduct crime as a business, where they have this enterprise that's doing a bunch of different things, but committing a number of different crimes, basically as a part of their normal everyday lives or businesses. And it doesn't have to be the mafia. I'll point you to DA Willis's successful prosecution in the Atlanta Public Schools case, where a number of teachers and administrators got together to falsify test scores in a manner that violated the law, that counted as racketeering. And it's oftentimes used in street gang prosecutions and other types of complicated cases where the jury needs to hear the whole story.
And I know you worked in Fulton County with the current DA, Fani Willis. So tell me a little bit about what you know of her and her work ethic.
DA Willis and I worked together in the major case division of the Fulton County DA's office. That's the homicide division. And you don't get into that division unless you've worked really hard and you've done well in your trials. It's not a place where you start off. She's a very smart lawyer. She is a hard-working lawyer. You will not outwork her. She's fearless. That's the other thing. If you're in the major case division, you're going to prosecute some really bad people who are probably going to threaten you at some point. She has to have security for this case, of course, but it won't be the first time that she's had to have security. She's not going to be intimidated. She is going to bring as good a case as any DA could possibly bring.
In your opinion, could we see the former president go to trial for these charges in Georgia?
Oh, yes. Unless he decides to take a plea bargain, this case is going to trial. She's not going to back down. I happen to know, Mr. Trump's lead defense counsel. He's got one heck of a lawyer on the other side, but that's Drew Finley. Even though they call Drew the magician, he would really have to pull a rabbit out of a hat in this case for Mr. Trump not to be convicted, based on the information we've all seen publicly reported and the way this indictment is so well crafted to the evidence.
Now, what is your opinion for some people to say that this is a federal case and the Fed should take over? This is not a state case.
Well, it's possible it could be both. It's not uncommon for people who commit very serious crimes in conjunction with others, for them to be subject to both state and federal prosecution. And DA Willis is well within her rights to seek this indictment and to seek justice for the citizens of Georgia. And let's face it, based on what we've all seen, Mr. Trump intentionally sought to interfere in our election. He intentionally tried to deprive people of their lawful votes. He intentionally sought to have people threaten people who were just doing their jobs. We all heard that telephone conversation he had with our Secretary of State. This is the case that needed to be brought.
Now, Cooke goes on to tell me that the indictment in this case is well done, and he says it is a tight case, not subject to dismissal.